The transmission had been weak, desperate, and barely coherent when it reached the outer colonies of human space. Ambassador Kalara of the Zephyrian Republic had managed to encode it into 17 different frequencies before the hegemony jamming towers finally silenced her world's cries for help. Please, the message had crackled through static. Anyone who receives this. The Caltech hegemony has blockaded our system. Our children starve. Our medicines run low. We cannot hold much longer. Within 6 hours, the human response fleet was already being assembled. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Harmony, watching as the final ships of her task force dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zephyrian system. To her left hung the sleek lines of 3 Devastator-class battlecruisers, their weapon arrays powered down but ready. To her right, a formation of destroyers maintained escort positions around what most alien species would consider the strangest sight in the fleet. 12 massive cargo haulers, their holds bulging with supplies. "Admiral," came the voice of Communications Officer Park. "We're receiving hails from the Caltech blockade fleet. They're demanding we turn back immediately." Chen smiled grimly. "Open a channel to all vessels, both theirs and ours." The main display flickered to life, showing the angular, predatory ships of the Caltech hegemony arranged in a defensive wall around Zephyria Prime. At the center of their formation, the massive dreadnought Bone Render bristled with weapons. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Systems Fleet," she announced, her voice carrying across subspace to every ship in the system. "We have received a distress call from the Zephyrian Republic and have come to provide humanitarian aid." The response came swiftly from the Caltech flagship. On screen appeared Commander Vextar, his chitinous features twisted into what humans had learned to recognize as contempt. "This system is under hegemony control, human. Your aid is neither requested nor welcome. Depart immediately or face the consequences." Chen's smile widened. "I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding, Commander. When humans receive a plea for help, we don't just answer. We over-answer. Communications, please patch me through to Captain Morrison on the Feast of Plenty." A new voice joined the channel, warm and cheerful. "This is Captain James Morrison of the humanitarian vessel Feast of Plenty. We're carrying enough food to feed 50 million beings for 6 months, along with complete medical supplies and a full mobile hospital. We also have aboard my crew some of the finest chefs from 17 different worlds. We figured the Zephyrians might enjoy a proper welcome back to freedom. Feast once this is all sorted out." Vextar's mandibles clicked in confusion. This is warfare, not a dinner party." "Who says it can't be both?" Chen replied. "Captain Rodriguez, would you care to share what you've brought?" A third voice, crisp and businesslike, filled the comm channels. "Captain Elena Rodriguez of the trade vessel Golden Opportunity. We're carrying manufacturing equipment, raw materials, and prefabricated infrastructure components, enough to help Zephyria rebuild their economy within the year. I've also taken the liberty of negotiating preliminary trade agreements with 17 different species on their behalf. The Zephyrians are about to become very wealthy." The silence from the Caltech fleet stretched for several seconds before Vextar found his voice again. You're offering them trade deals. In the middle of a blockade?" "The middle of a former blockade," Chen corrected. "You see, Commander, humans have learned something over the centuries. The best way to help people isn't just to drive off their enemies, though we're perfectly happy to do that. 2, it's to make them strong enough that they won't need our help next time." She gestured to her tactical display, where the Devastator-class battlecruisers were slowly moving into formation. "Now about that face the consequences part. I should mention that each of my battlecruisers carries enough firepower to glass a small moon. But here's the thing about humans, Commander. We'd much rather use that firepower to protect people than to destroy them. You threaten us with 3 ships against our entire fleet?" Vextar snarled. "Oh, these aren't the threat," Chen laughed. "These are just the escort. The real threat is what happens after we feed the Zephyrians, heal their sick, rebuild their infrastructure, and establish them as a major economic power in this sector. You see, we humans have this peculiar habit. When someone helps us or our friends, we remember it forever." She leaned forward in her command chair. "In 5 years, when the Zephyrians are wealthy and well-fed and protected by mutual defense treaties with humanity, what do you think happens to species that once tried to starve them into submission?" Do you think the Calthek hegemony will find many trading partners? Do you think your expansion into this sector will go smoothly when you're surrounded by human allies? The comm channel fell silent for a long moment. When Vextar spoke again, his voice had lost much of its edge. What do you propose? Chen's smile became genuinely warm. I propose you accept Captain Morrison's invitation to dinner. Nothing says end of hostilities like breaking bread together, or whatever the Calthek equivalent might be. We'll figure out trade agreements that benefit everyone, establish proper diplomatic channels, and maybe even find ways for the hegemony to contribute to Zephyrian reconstruction. After all, this could be the beginning of a profitable partnership for all involved. And if we refuse? The Admiral's expression didn't change, but somehow her smile became infinitely more dangerous. Then we proceed with the original plan. Banquets for the Zephyrians, bargains for the future, and if absolutely necessary, battlecruisers for anyone who stands in the way of either. 2 hours later, Ambassador Kalara stood in the central plaza of her world's capital city, tears streaming down her face as she watched human cargo shuttles descend from the sky like mechanical angels. The blockade fleet was gone, departed for negotiations aboard the human vessels, and the first loads of food and medicine were already being distributed. She activated her personal communicator and sent a message to the Galactic Council. To all civilized species, if you ever find yourselves in desperate need, send your plea to the humans. They will answer with more than you asked for, more than you dreamed possible, and more than you can ever truly repay. This is not a warning or a threat, it is simply the truth about Earth's children. Above her, more shuttles descended, and the sound of human laughter mixed with Zephyrian songs of celebration echoed across the city. The humans had come with banquets, bargains, and battlecruisers, and somehow, impossibly, they had made it all work together. In the depths of space, Admiral Chen watched the scene on her monitors and nodded with satisfaction. This was what humanity did best, turning cries for help into reasons for hope.